Hey there, old souls. It's Dr. J again in the woods. It's kind of wintry again. Lately, we've been talking a lot about energy fields and why it's important to understand energy fields and the influence they have on our consciousness, our awareness, our identity, our mood, and all those things. And I got a lot of positive response. People liked hearing about that, like being reminded of that, that sort of thing. And I thought I would take the conversation a little bit deeper today. And by that, I want to invite you to extend this awareness that not only do things have energy fields, but in fact, everything from a leaf to the tree that it's on, to the forest that it's in, to the region that it's in, to the earth that it's on, to the planet itself. It's all fields within fields within fields within fields. And if you think about it that way, that means we are never independent of the influence of another field. We are a field of energy ourselves, and in any moment, in every moment, we are swimming in fields of energy, layer upon layer upon layer. And I think of it somewhat similar to swimming in the ocean. I mean, obviously, there is only one ocean on the planet, one great water system that encompasses most of the globe. And yet, we think of it as being many oceans, right? The Caribbean Sea, the South Sea, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and so on. They're all connected. Creatures can flow freely between them. Currents, water, plastic moves between them. But you might say there are distinctions in the areas or the regions or the aspects of that one ocean that are significant enough that we can relate to them uniquely. And then within the ocean, of course, there's layers of temperature and current as it goes down. There's different ecosystems at each level of the ocean. It's all the same one ocean, but clearly the coral reef and the kelp forests don't, they're radically different. And the dark algae-rich waters of the Pacific Northwest and the bright, sparkling, clear waters of the tropics, they're different. It's one ocean, but many, many expressions. Now, in that same way, we are a field of energy, sitting within fields of energy. And I thought that would be worth revisiting or restating, because I think we underestimate or fail to recognize how absolute this principle is. We tend to think of spiritual things as having energy fields and non-spiritual things as not. But if you think about the world of, let's say, marketing and branding, a company's look and feel and color and design, it's all energy field management. Yes, of course, there's psychology to it. Yes, there's history of experience and culture. But all these things have energy signatures. The energy signature influences the choices influence the energy signature, and over time, energy signatures can even be built. McDonald's, right? The golden arches. We don't even need to see the rest of the building. We don't even need to see the name. It conveys something, and they, for example, have worked hard to evolve that energy very consciously so that some of the harsh stereotypes and assumptions which many of us still hold wouldn't become the way they were known. We think about brands like Starbucks, Apple, Patagonia, Ford, Nabisco. I don't know. I'm trying to think of household names. But the point is that they've all created a look and a feeling that interacts with our own unique psychology, and through our experience of them and our conditioning and our culture, there's a kind of emergent principle, a relationship with these brands. And for some of us, we love one that someone else hates, and someone's attracted to it that someone else isn't. But what we realize is that it's not as simple and straightforward as we might think. It's not as mechanical as we might think. It's not as psychological as we might think, that there's subtler levels to our daily experience that are shaping what we're experiencing and how we're experiencing it. But to go further with this, I think where I was hoping to head today is to take you even beyond the idea that everything has an energy and take it to the point where we realize that it's actually the opposite. So you aren't a body with an energy field, although at some level it is true enough to say the body emits an energy field. That energy field affects the body and reflects the body. But it might be wiser to say that the opposite is true. That fields of energy from the beginning of time itself are manifesting physical reality. So it's fields of energy that manifest the physical, not the physical that precedes the energy. You know, even if you think about the consciousness of a seed in an apple or in an oak tree or even in a human, we start off with almost no physical matter or material to speak of. And yet somehow all the intelligence, all the energy, all the wisdom to fabricate a towering oak or a human being is present and available. So I would call that a field of energy. It's a field of potential that the seed is the first manifestation of. And then the seed draws from that memory, draws from that energy, and constructs itself. It's almost like it's downloading the information as it goes. The funny thing about this sort of very modern metaphor is that it makes me think a little bit about 3D printers. 3D printers, oh, look at that. My camera is not where I thought it was. 3D printers are pulling information from a universal space, you know, the internet, or someone has sent that to you. And then bit by bit, like almost literally bit by bit, they are creating matter. And more than that, but they are creating things, human joints. They are creating homes. They are creating car parts and computer parts, things that function and interact in the material world. So why does this matter? Like, why does this matter? Well, the reason why I think it matters that we are a living energy universe in which fields of organized energy are causing the manifestation of physical reality and its symptoms. Well, that has a lot of really important implications. First of all, it's an absolute affirmation of why our thoughts matter, why our prayers matter, why our mood and emotion matters, because whatever we do and choose, and that includes the feng shui of our home, and that includes, you know, whether we're organized or messy, and whether that serves us or not, and so on. Everything we do is shaping the field of energy that we are. Okay, it's not just attempting to change energy. It is literally changing energy, the energy that people see, feel, consciously and unconsciously interact with. And every single thing has its energy interacting with us. We are all communicating all the time, right? Because that's the next principle, which is if everything we think, do, feel, say, and move shapes energy, then that means that we are fundamentally communicating with all the fields of energy around us and the universe itself through the field of energy that we are and that we are shaping by our choices. Now, I find this a very, very helpful thing to contemplate and remember, because when I struggle with my own psychology, when I struggle with my own stuckness, it doesn't feel quite as personal. In other words, I feel a certain amount of spaciousness and a certain empowerment when I think of myself as an energy field and not as just a brain and body. And I think that's because I relate to energy fields as implicitly connected, as implicitly powerful, as implicitly wise. And so it takes out sort of the charge of self-judgment. It takes out the charge of feeling limited. It takes out the charge of frustration. For me, when I remember that this is just an infinite play of fields, and that what I think and feel and do matters, not because of right or wrong. Okay, this is a big part of what I'm, I guess, trying to communicate. It's not because of right or wrong. It removes judgment. It's just about cause and effect, and then we can make our decisions accordingly. But there's more. If we think of ourselves as a field of energy first and then a physical creation second, it means that whatever the physical creation is, it's implicitly temporary. Now, we all know that, I suppose, at an intellectual level, but sometimes that's hard to really internalize, the idea that we are a soul versus the experience that we're a soul. But to take it even further, and here's a beautiful little pond here.